My name is P.R. Mukund. I'm originally from Bangalore. I left Bangalore in 1974. So for more than 40 years, I've lived in US. I'm a professor of engineering at Rochester Institute of Technology. And in addition to my engineering vocation, I'm also very much involved in what I would refer to as our Adhyatma, which is our Vedic way of life. I do many things in that regard, and one of which is preservation of ancient manuscripts. We do this through two different organizations. One is a non-profit trust in Bangalore. It's called Tara Prakashna, and there is a foundation in US. It's called the Foundation for the Preservation of Knowledge. And what we do is we use latest technology to preserve very ancient manuscripts. This whole thing started with our working on the Sarvamula Grantha, which is written down, not composed by, but written down by Hrishikesha Tirtharu, is the original work of Acharya Madhva. And from all we know, Acharya Madhva dictated and Sri Hrishikesha Tirtharu actually wrote it down. So it is very obvious if you look at the manuscript that Hrishikesh Tirtharu himself says that it was written, when I say written, I don't mean composed, but written down by him, which was actually composed by Acharya Madhva, but which was written by Sri Hrishikesha Tirtha of Phalimar Matha. This work came into my notice because of my guru, Dr. Bananja Govindacharya, who was editing the Sarvamula Grantha at that time, and he wanted to see a copy. And what had happened before that is in the 1970s, Professor Charles White, who retired as the professor of religion, who specialized in Vaishnava studies in American University in Washington, D.C., he had come to India and he had microfilmed a lot of these manuscripts, including the Sarvamula Grantha. So when I was asked to go find that, I found out that the microfilm which Dr. White had obtained, the Sarvamula Grantha in particular, had got erased. When I tried to show it to Dr. Govindacharya, we realized that it was unreadable. So at that point, again under the direction of Dr. Govindacharya, I started looking at technology to preserve these manuscripts. And I was fortunate that I was able to come in contact with and subsequently collaborate with two very preeminent scientists known all over the world for saving old manuscripts. One is Dr. Roger Easton, who is a professor of imaging science, and another person is Dr. Keith Knox, who lives in Hawaii. And these two scientists kindly agreed to come with me to work on this Sarvamula Grantha because they got convinced through me that this was a very, very important manuscript that needed to be saved. So we came in December of 2005 to Udupi to examine this manuscript. And when we looked at that, we realized several things. The first one was that this manuscript was unlike any other such manuscript we had seen, mainly because it was very ancient. It was very, very obvious when you looked at it that it was very ancient. And the reason I say that is we were looking at the texture, we were looking at the writing, we were looking at the condition of the manuscript. This is one single manuscript which contained one lipikara, as we call it, that is one person writing it. And based on handwriting and all these things, it's very obvious that it's the same person who's written all of it. This is not fragmented manuscripts. It's not a collection of different manuscripts. It is one manuscript that was written by one person. And from what we know, because it says so at the end, this is manuscript that was written by Sri Hrishikesha Tirtharu. And so looking at this manuscript, we realized that we needed to use some special technology to image this. So we went back to US, and it took us about 6 months to put everything together. So a team of engineers and scientists came down, and we spent about 7-8 days in Udupi. And fortunately, we had access to this manuscript. And we were able to, using multispectral imaging, we were able to image all the leaves in the Sarvamoola Grantha, and we were able to get these images in a very, very readable form after we did processing on that. So what we did was we took all of that and we printed it on archival paper, very readable, nice manuscript, and so we were allowed to make 3 copies by the Swamiji of Palimaru Matha, and so we brought it back, and at a formal function in Udupi, we handed over this manuscript to the Matha. So now nobody has to, if somebody wants to read this thing, they don't have to go to the Matha and access the original manuscript, because every time you take it out, you lose 5 or 10%. So you can look at this manuscript that we have given, and it's the same thing. You can read that thing. So anybody can go to Palimaru Matha and see that today. A second copy is with Dr. Bananjay Govindacharya, and the third copy Swamiji was kind enough to give to me, not so much to me personally, but to my trust, and it is with us right now. And what we are planning to do is build a center here in Bangalore, and in that center we will not only house the Sarvamoola Grantha, but subsequently our trust has been working on other manuscripts from other mathas, such as Sodai Matha and Pejawar Matha and so on. And currently we have about 3,000 manuscripts in our possession. So we are already processing all of these things, printing it on archival paper in book form. We have over 200 books already done actually. And we want to create a physical library here at the center where scholars can come and actually read these manuscripts if they want to. Another thing we also want to do is to use what we refer to as a wafer fish technology, and this particular technology uses semiconductor technology, where we use a layer of metal on silicon wafer like they do in computer chips. And the specialty about this thing, we have a patent on this, by the way, and the specialty about this thing is the fact that it does not get damaged by fire or water or wind or anything. So it really is a very good archival medium. So the Sarvamoola Grantha has already been made, and what I would like to do is at the center also create a lab where other manuscripts of importance can be converted to wafer fish form. And any manuscript that's in wafer fish form can last probably closer to 1,000 years. So this is true archival, because if we keep digital images on a computer or a server somewhere, because of technology migration over the years, we don't have any confidence that 5, 10, 20 years from now people can read this thing. And the books themselves, even though the books appear to be more permanent than what's on the computer, which is true, it is, but even those books may last 100 years or 150 years. So we have 3 levels of archival, if you will. The first level is the images being in electronic form on a server, which people can access from anywhere. The second one is in book form, which people can come physically to the library and read it. And the third one is in wafer fish form that will last for 1,000 years or more. So what we are planning to do is to not only go to all the mathas and collect all of these manuscripts and create a center where people can access, but also to archive it for a long, long time to come. People can definitely volunteer. We can always use people in so many different ways. If they can volunteer time, if they have some technical background, they can help us with the imaging work, for example. Or on the other hand, if they want to contribute financially, that's always welcome. Any nonprofit trust. Essentially right now, it's me and a bunch of my students who contribute, and that's how we are running this whole show. We don't go ask money from anyone. However, if people do want to contribute, it's very, very welcome. Both organizations are registered nonprofit trusts. If they go to our website, www.taraprakashna.org here in India, or if they happen to be in US, they can go to www.jnana.org. Jnana is spelled as Jnyana, and if they go to that, it'll take them through the process on how to make financial contributions. I got interested in this work mainly because I realized many years ago that when I myself started looking to learn about the Vedic way of life and Vedic sciences, I was fortunate enough to find a guru. And I realized that having succeeded very well in the engineering field, I've done a lot of research, I've published a lot, I've done all of those things. but I realized that the knowledge base that exists in the Vedic scriptures is something that is not just ancient. Normally we think that it's something 5,000-6,000 years ago, which is not useful today in today's environment, which is not true at all. What I found personally is that the knowledge that is contained in this manuscript is actually very, very applicable not only to science and engineering today. My own research improved a lot because of my involvement with this in so many different ways. I became a better teacher, I became a better researcher, I became a better person. So my thing was, when all of this is true, it's a shame really that the young people are not aware of this.